Sophia always carried feelings for someone else. One day on the trading floor, her lover, posing as a financial guru, blindly predicted a potential stock, and she immediately invested 10 million in it. My kind warning was met with their insults, calling me a good-for-nothing kept man. I was actually a hidden stock market genius. Back then, Arthur Thorne pleaded with me to be a dependent husband to save the Thorne family, and I already held shares in Thorne Enterprises. I deliberately bet Sophia 100 million, and they both mocked me, even signing a divorce agreement to make way for her lover, and she even gave him her director position at the office. As a result, after the market opened, her stock plummeted, while mine soared. Her lover was beaten up by the furious shareholders, who had lost heavily. Later, after she ran off together with her lover, she was domestically abused, regretted it, and wanted to remarry, but I told her to get lost. Eventually, out of desperation, she committed suicide. To support the man of her dreams, she directly bought 10 million shares of the potential stock the man of her dreams predicted. Julian is a financial genius. He's never failed at stock investments. Everyone, don't listen to a dependent husband talking nonsense. Meeting Sophia's disgusted gaze, I calmly bought another stock. Well then, let's make a bet. However many shares you buy, I'll buy the same amount. Let's see who makes money in the end. Hearing me say this, Sophia Thorne's face instantly darkened, and her voice was filled with impatience. Haven't you made enough of a scene? Do you even know what stocks are? My Thorne family gave you money, not for you to squander it so recklessly. Julian Blackwood glanced at the stock I chose, then looked at me, and burst into laughter. I'm not trying to be mean, but you have terrible luck. You just casually buy a stock, and it's guaranteed to lose money. If you don't have the talent, don't try to act like you do, okay? Be careful, or you'll lose absolutely everything. Hearing this, the people on the trading floor looked at me with contempt, and some even mocked me in front of everyone. Just now, he seemed so confident. I thought he was capable. Who knew he was just putting on a show? He's an expert with an overseas education. This dependent husband probably never even went to college. How can he compare? With his demeanor, I don't know how he became a dependent husband. If I were Ms. Thorne, I would have kicked him out long ago. A finance expert with an overseas education is a much better match for Ms. Thorne. Julian Blackwood was beaming with satisfaction at Everion's remarks, a smug smile appearing on his face. How about this? I won't say I'm bullying you. If you get down on your knees and apologize to me, I'll tell Ms. Thorne to buy less. Otherwise, you can just wait to bleed money. I waved my hand, a slight smile playing on my lips. No need. I can afford this much money. Unlike you, who needs Sophia to pay for your stock purchases? It looks like you're more of a kept man than I am. Julian Blackwood's face instantly flushed crimson after hearing my words, yet he didn't know how to retort, so he could only look pleadingly at Sophia Thorne. Seeing her the man of her dreams humiliated, Sophia Thorne's face showed a hint of anger, and she started yelling at me. Ethan Miller, you dependent husband, isn't all the money you spend from my Thorne family. What are you showing off about? Even though Julian doesn't have much money now, he's talented. He'll definitely achieve great things in the future, unlike you, who's just a lazy good-for-nothing. Julian gave you a chance to save face just now, and you didn't take it. Now you can just wait to lose money. With that, Sophia Thorne took out her phone, and bought another 10 million in stocks. What a brainless idiot, I sighed inwardly. It seemed it was time to slip away. Actually, I'm a once-in-a-century financial prodigy. I started studying investment and predicting stocks in middle school, and I've almost never failed. Once, when I was making a prediction, Arthur Thorne happened to notice me. He was so impressed by my ability that he pleaded with me for my guidance. Initially, I didn't want to agree, but he was too sincere, and offered a lot of money, enough to support my investments freely, so I accepted. Because I was too young, and lacked persuasive power, plus I don't like to show off, I simply remained a behind-the-scenes mastermind, so few people knew my true abilities. Sophia Thorne was Arthur Thorne's only daughter, and he doted on her immensely. She was meant to inherit the office in the future. Knowing Sophia Thorne's capabilities weren't enough, Arthur Thorne begged me to marry her. To get me to agree to be a dependent husband, Arthur Thorne directly gave me 500 million. I didn't care about reputation to begin with, and Arthur Thorne owed me a debt of gratitude for his patronage. Plus, Sophia Thorne had a good figure and appearance, so I agreed. I just didn't expect that my low profile would lead Sophia Thorne to mistakenly believe I was just an incompetent fool, even insulting me in front of everyone, for another man. Since she was going no holds barred, there was no need for me to give him respect. I chuckled twice, looking at Sophia Thorne mockingly. Only 20 million. That's a bit stingy. If we're going to bet, let's go big. How about 100 million? At these words, everyone gasped, astonished. How much? 100 million. Is he crazy? Does he even understand stocks, daring to invest 100 million? What a spendthrift. Even if Thorn Enterprises is rich, they shouldn't let a dependent husband squander money like this. This dependent husband has truly shamed the Thorn family. The surrounding discussions made Sophia Thorn's face turn ugly. She lowered her voice and asked me, 100 million. Can you even come up with that money? Talking big without the ability to back it up. Don't come begging the Thorn family to clean up your mess later. I smiled nonchalantly. Don't trouble yourself. I can certainly come up with that much money. Let alone 100 million. I could easily come up with 1 billion. Over the years, I've made a lot of money investing in stocks. It's no exaggeration to say that the prosperity of the entire Thorn Enterprises has been maintained by me. I also hold 30% of Thorn Enterprises stock. If I wanted to, I could kick Sophia Thorn out of her CEO position in minutes, but I simply don't care about these empty titles. That's why Arthur Thorn pleaded with me to marry Sophia Thorn. Fine, if you want to play, I'll play along to the end. But I'm stating this upfront, you are not allowed to use a single cent from our Thorn family. As soon as Sophia Thorn finished speaking, Julian Blackwood eagerly started egging him on. Let's do as you say. We'll make a big bet. If anyone loses, they have to bark like a dog on the ground. Do you dare to bet? All right, a bet's a bet. Seeing me agree, a flicker of triumphant excitement crossed Julian Blackwood's face, as if he was certain I would lose. And I ask everyone present to be a witness, so that a certain someone doesn't go back on his word later. Meeting Julian Blackwood's smug gaze, I scoffed inwardly. He was truly dumb as a brick, digging his own grave. After mocking me, Julian Blackwood looked at Sophia Thorn, acting pitiful. I'm sorry, I was too impulsive just now, and spoke without thinking. If he really barks like a dog, will it embarrass you? Sophia Thorn looked at him with tender eyes, completely unlike the coldness she showed me. It's not your fault. You don't need to blame yourself. He's completely asking for it. With that, she turned to face the crowd. Everyone, I'd like to state beforehand that whether this person barks like a dog or acts like a pig, it is purely his personal behavior and has absolutely nothing to do with our Thorn Enterprises. Everyone present wasn't foolish. They could naturally see that Sophia Thorn and Julian Blackwood had a close relationship. Some people who wanted to curry favor with Thorn Enterprises eagerly started flattering Julian Blackwood. Mr. Blackwood is truly a financial genius. He can effortlessly predict stock trends. It's truly eye-opening for us. Exactly. Mr. Blackwood, could you perhaps give us some guidance? Even if you just let us have a slice of the pie too, that would be great. Julian Blackwood was beaming with satisfaction at the praise, thoroughly enjoying the compliments. Then I'll offer some advice. The future belongs to AI. Nexus AI is a stock I've carefully selected. It's definitely going to explode this time. You can buy with confidence. As for that quantum auto stock someone else picked, everyone should steer clear of it as soon as possible. It's been falling for days and will crash in a few days. If you buy it now, you'll lose every last cent. With that, Julian Blackwood glanced at me mockingly, as if ridiculing my incompetence. After hearing his words, everyone rushed to buy shares of Nexus AI, and some even called their friends and family, urging them to buy. This stock instantly skyrocketed. Within minutes, it hit its daily limit. Julian Blackwood was right. The future indeed belongs to AI. But the stock he chose was a huge trap. Nexus AI's stock had indeed been rising for days, and based on the data, it seemed like a good stock. However, this was just a false prosperity. As far as I knew, Nexus AI's CEO was just a mere figurehead, and he was already planning to abscond with the money in the next few days. When the market opened again, this stock would plummet. On the other hand, the new energy quantum auto stock I bought had almost hit its daily low these past few days, but this office had basically opened up the international market, and its parts were not dependent on foreign countries. It would definitely be highly profitable in the future, and now was the best time to buy. I looked at the crowd frantically buying stocks and sighed. Let them buy if they want, I'd already warned them. Their losses weren't my concern. Seeing that I remained silent, Julian Blackwood assumed I had regretted it, and looked at me with a mocking expression. Ethan Miller, I truly despise you. How can a good-for-nothing like you be worthy of Miss Thorn? You should take a good look at yourself. If I were you, I would have wisely left already. I really don't understand what nerve you have to stay here. Trash like him wasn't worth my anger. I casually scratched my ear. You say I'm not worthy of Sophia Thorn, then who is? You called him out on his true intentions. Julian Blackwood's face turned red, and his voice grew louder. What about me? I'm a finance expert with an overseas education, much stronger than you. Once I've gained a few years of experience at the office, I'll be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ms. Thorne. What a finance expert with an overseas education. Truly impressive. I applauded, my face full of disdain. My dismissive attitude completely enraged Julian Blackwood. He furiously pointed at my nose and cursed. What right do you have to mock me? Let me tell you the truth. Ms. Thorne has already agreed to make me the office's vice director. You should pack your bags and get out now. I froze for 2 seconds, a cold glint in my eyes, staring directly at Sophia Thorne. Is what he said true? Are you really going to let him replace my position? Sophia Thorne's face showed a hint of discomfort, but her voice was still self-righteous. What's wrong? Julian is a financial genius, he definitely knows more than you, and can help the office develop better. This position was originally Julian's. Now that he's back, you should make way. Sophia Thorne's words really got to me. She could mock me however she wanted. I didn't care. But she couldn't casually mess with my position. I looked at her coldly, my words full of indifference and disgust. By your logic, does that mean your husband's position is also changing? If you want him to be vice director, fine, we divorce. Sophia Thorne's chest heaved violently, seemingly infuriated by me. I truly didn't understand why she was so angry. Do you really think I wouldn't dare to divorce? If my dad hadn't forced me, I would never have agreed to you being a dependent husband. The sight of you disgusts me. You're not even worth a single hair on Julian's head. In front of everyone, Julian Blackwood directly took Sophia Thorne's hand. Let me tell you, Starry and I have been together for a long time. If you have any decency, stop bothering Starry. Looking at this despicable, cheating couple before me, I laughed in extreme anger. Fine, then divorce. But what? Hurry up and say it. Julian Blackwood's face was full of urgency, afraid I would go back on my word. But I won't be cuckolded for nothing. Sophia Thorne is having an affair during the marriage. I won't make her leave empty-handed. Just give me 20% of the shares. Shares. Don't even think about it. Sophia Thorne's eyes were full of fury as she looked at me. I smiled indifferently. Then let's not divorce. I'm indifferent anyway, as long as you're not afraid of losing face. Seeing Sophia Thorne waver, Julian Blackwood grew anxious and quickly persuaded her that stock he bought will definitely fall tomorrow. Once he loses all his money, he'll definitely sell his shares. I say, just agree for now. I want to be with you openly. Sophia Thorne hesitated for 3 seconds before nodding, then glared fiercely at me. Fine, I'll give it to you. I'd like to see how you beg me to buy it back tomorrow. Fearing I would go back on my word after Sophia Thorne agreed, Julian Blackwood immediately ordered someone to draft the contract. Before long, the divorce contract was delivered. After reviewing the contents, I waved my hand, signing it with a flourish. Julian Blackwood nodded with satisfaction at the contract, took Sophia Thorne's hand, and started to leave. Wait. Lee, are you done or not? From now on, there's nothing between us. Sophia Thorne glared at me unhappily. As if anyone cared about having a relationship with her, I sneered inwardly. I don't care how much money you want to spend buying him stocks, but you cannot use the office's money. Now I'm also a shareholder of the office, and you're losing my money too. Sophia Thorne gnashed her teeth in anger but still instructed her assistant to use her private funds to replace the $100 million transferred from the office. This set my mind at ease. After all, the office was mine now, and I absolutely couldn't let it suffer losses. Sophia Thorne didn't know that I already owned 20% of the office's shares. With the additional 20% she transferred to me, I now owned the most shares in the entire office. Now I was the true chairman of the office. After returning home, I stared at the market indices. The AI stock Julian Blackwood predicted soared, while my quantum auto stock plummeted. To mock me, Sophia Thorne posted 5 consecutive updates on her social media feed, and everyone was watching my misfortune unfold. I just waited quietly. Until the very last moment of market opening, no one could say for sure. At 2 a.m., my assistant called, saying that Nexus I's CEO was preparing to absconded with the money. At the same time, the quantum auto stock I bought was quietly rising. I curved my lips into a smile. It was the moment of truth. The next morning, the stock exchange was packed with people, all waiting for the market to open. Sophia Thorne and Julian Blackwood also came. I stood outside and didn't go in. I knew in my heart that once the stocks opened this time, another batch of people would have jumped to their deaths. As expected, at 9:30 a.m., as soon as the market opened, the entire trading floor was filled with whales. The next second, my phone rang again. It was Sophia Thorne calling. After a moment of hesitation, I answered. As soon as I picked up, I was met with a barrage of curses. Ethan Miller, you bastard. What methods did you use? Why did Nexus I CEO absconded with the money? Are you deliberately trying to screw us over? Why did that garbage stock you bought rise so much? Who told you? If you're a man, hurry up and reimburse me for the money I lost. Did you hear me? Don't you dare playing dumb here? I picked at my ear, my tone flat. Excuse me, madam, I don't think we have any relationship, do we? Ask your husband to cover your losses. You're my. Halfway through, Sophia Thorne realized something, and quickly changed the subject. Anyway, I don't care. Hurry up and transfer the money to me, or else you can forget about me forgiving you. I was so exasperated I almost laughed. I couldn't care less if you forgive me. It's none of my business, and you've got some nerve. You. Sophia Thorne was too furious to speak. Julian Blackwood snatched the phone. I underestimated you back then. I apologize. Please transfer the money to me. Another one with a lot of nerve. What kind of apology is worth $100 million? Does he really think he's a hot commodity? I couldn't be bothered with them, so I hung up directly, and blocked their numbers. Soon after, I received a call from Arthur Thorne. He asked me to go to the family estate. It seemed this matter had alarmed even him, which was normal. After all, Sophia Thorne had lost $100 million, and that was no small sum. Just as I arrived at the family estate entrance, I ran into Sophia Thorne and Julian Blackwood, who were also rushing there. Just you wait, if my dad finds out you screwed me over, your end will be terrible. Sophia Thorne glared at me angrily, pulling Julian Blackwood into the family estate. She was truly dumb as a brick. If Arthur Thorne knew what happened, he would probably be furious. Dad, this is Julian Blackwood. He's a financial genius who studied abroad. I've told you about him. Julian Blackwood bowed and scraped beside her. Hello, Uncle Arthur. Arthur Thorne's face instantly darkened. He snorted coldly. Where did these nobodies come from? Go somewhere cool, and stay there. Upon seeing me, Arthur Thorne warmly welcomed me. Good son-in-law, you must be thirsty. Come quickly. Try the tea I just brewed. I smiled and walked towards him. Arthur Thorne's tea. I will definitely drink it. However, the address needs to change. I am no longer your son-in-law. What? Arthur Thorne's hand trembled slightly, and the tea spilled from his teacup. He laughed to himself. My son-in-law must be speaking in anger. Don't worry, I will definitely resolve this for you. I smiled and waved my hand. I'm not speaking in anger. The divorce papers have already been signed. Sophia Thorne said she and this gentleman are truly in love, so I've granted their wish. The moment my words fell, Arthur Thorne's smile instantly froze on his face. He looked at Sophia Thorne in disbelief. Sophia Thorne clenched her fists tightly, looking as if she had given up everything. Dad, we've indeed signed the divorce papers. I've never liked him from the beginning. I like Julian, so please just let us be. You outrageous girl. Why aren't you begging Ethan Miller to remarry you? Arthur Thorne was so angry he smashed the teacup in his hand. Dad, he's just a dependent husband. Why do you care so much about him? Sophia Thorne's eyes widened in disbelief, her voice full of confusion and incomprehension. You ungrateful daughter, you're practically driving me crazy. Arthur Thorne was trembling all over, and he raised his hand and slapped Sophia Thorne. Julian Blackwood tried to stop him, but was directly kicked by Arthur Thorne. Get lost, far away from here. It's not your place to interfere in our family matters. Dad, what are you doing? In your heart, is your own daughter not as important as a dependent husband? Sophia Thorne covered her face, her eyes brimming with tears, as if she had suffered a great injustice. What do you know? If I hadn't begged Ethan Miller, how could he possibly have become your dependent husband? There are many people more excellent than you who like him. Don't you know, the entire Thorne Enterprises has been ruined by you. Sophia Thorne frowned in disbelief. Dad, what are you talking nonsense about? Why would you beg him to be a dependent husband? Why do you value him so much? How can you be so dense? Don't you know, the only reason Thorne Enterprises has been operating for so long is all thanks to Ethan Miller. You actually humiliated him so much for an incompetent fool. You're incredibly stupid. Arthur Thorne was trembling all over with anger, looking at Sophia Thorne with a mix of fury and disappointment. Sophia Thorne seemed to understand something, looking at me in disbelief. She probably never dreamed that the good-for-nothing dependent husband she saw as only eating and waiting to die was actually the true controller of the corporation. You really are. I smiled calmly. I told you long ago, but you just didn't believe me. But this is good too. At least you can boldly pursue true love now. Why aren't you apologizing to Ethan Miller? Do you really want to see the entire Thorne Enterprises destroyed in your hands? Arthur Thorne was so anxious he slapped his thigh, wishing he could possess her understanding. Sophia Thorne bit her lower lip, her face full of hesitation. Julian Blackwood sensed that something was seriously wrong, and his legs went weak, dropping directly to his knees in front of Arthur Thorne. "Uncle Arthur, Sophia and I are truly in love. Please just let us be. I'm also very capable. Thorne Enterprises will definitely be better in my hands." Arthur Thorne was furious and kicked Julian Blackwood. "Get as far away from me as you can. Still dreaming about my corporation? In your dreams." Julian Blackwood cried out in pain, and Sophia Thorne immediately rushed to his side, distressed. "Dad, don't kick him. He's not wrong, just give us one chance. We promise we'll manage the corporation well. Manage it well. Do you believe that yourself? Don't think I don't know, you just lost $100 million. Arthur Thorne was so angry he nearly lost his balance. Sophia Thorne lowered her head, not daring to speak. She knew best whether she truly had any real ability. After a moment of silence, she looked up at me. "Ethan Miller, I apologize to you. I hope you can put aside past grievances and continue to work for Thorne Enterprises. Don't worry, I won't treat you unfairly. Julian is vice director, so you can be the manager. As long as the office performs well, I'll give you a house, a car, whatever you want." I was so exasperated I almost laughed. "At this point, you're still dreaming, aren't you? I'm giving up being a billionaire to work for them. It's hilarious." I coldly waved my hand. "No need for all that trouble. Just give the corporation directly to me. Don't know, when you're well off. So what if you're capable? I'm the CEO of the office." Sophia Thorne glared at me, infuriated. "Not for long. Now I have the most shares, so I call the shots." "What? Don't you only have 20% of the shares?" I smiled slightly. "I originally had 30% of the shares, plus what you gave me. Now I have 50%. So your CEO position will probably have to be vacated." With that, I directly called a video conference and notified the important directors of the office. They all congratulated me with smiles, without any dissent. Sophia Thorne's face was full of disbelief. At first, she tried to use their past connections to ask the board for help, but to her surprise, they showed no sentiment whatsoever. The outcome was already within my expectations. In the realm of power, everyone is a shrewd operator. They naturally align with whoever can bring them benefits. Except for Sophia Thorne, who was brainless. The other directors could all see that I was the true backbone of the corporation. Arthur Thorne tried to say more, but I coldly interrupted him. "Arthur Thorne, you don't need to say anything more. Even if Sophia Thorne truly realized her mistake, I would not remarry her. A woman as stupid and malicious as her, I genuinely find unappealing." Arthur Thorne was fuming with anxiety, yet helpless. I said nothing more, turned, and left the family estate. There was still a lot of work waiting for me at the office, as well as follow up on the stock situation. As soon as I arrived at the office, I received a report from my assistant. He said that with this stock market crash, many people had lost their entire life savings and couldn't bear it, so they jumped to their deaths. I sighed. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Even if the odds are great, it's still a gamble. It had been fine before, but this time, everyone might have believed Julian Blackwood's words, acting on impulse and putting all their savings into Nexus AI stock, losing absolutely everything. Now, Julian Blackwood was really in trouble. As expected, in just 2 hours, the video of Julian Blackwood being beaten up circulated. In the video, Julian Blackwood was surrounded by a group of furious shareholders who had lost their minds. "Do you know how much money we've lost? I sold my house, and it still ended up like this. You dare to predict stocks with that level of skill? What a financial genius, you're a swindler. Swindler, pay us back. Swindler, pay us back. Do you know, Mike's loan sharks couldn't be repaid, and he jumped to his deaths. There are others being hounded by debt collectors. If you don't give me money, I'll drag you down with me even if I die." A group of people punched and kicked Julian Blackwood, and he quickly became bruised and swollen. Sophia Thorne, who had just arrived, screamed and shrieked. "Everyone, please calm down. Buying stocks is a gamble to begin with. Besides, Julian's prediction wasn't wrong. Who knew Nexus I's CEO would absconded with the money? They were all gamblers who had lost. Who would listen to Sophia Thorne? What she was doing would only bring trouble upon herself. Who knew? Your husband knew. The stock he bought made a fortune. By the way, isn't this your lover? If he doesn't have money, you pay for him, or I'll beat him to death. Beat this woman to death too. If she hadn't dared to gamble $100 million, I wouldn't have sold my house and dragged my relatives and friends into this mess." Looking at the fierce-looking crowd, Sophia Thorne turned pale with fright, tears flowing helplessly. Fortunately, the police arrived in time to stop the commotion. Even the police couldn't control it for long. Desperate people have nothing to lose. A group of gamblers who had lost their minds would do anything. If this wasn't resolved, Julian Blackwood and Sophia Thorne would probably live in fear for the rest of their lives. A day later, Sophia Thorne finally compromised. She called me. "Ethan Miller, I'm out of money. Can you lend me some?" "Not much, just 50 million. A smile played on my lips. "I can't just give you money directly. You can trade shares for it. 50 million for 30% of your shares. Think about it." Sophia Thorne's voice suddenly rose. "Do you have to be this way? Is it just about profit between us? I was your wife, after all." "Stop right there. Let's not mix business with personal feelings. Besides, there was never any real affection between us. Miss Thorne, perhaps you've forgotten, who vowed solemnly on the trading floor that day to buy the shares in my possession. I'm just learning from you now." "You." Sophia Thorne was furious, but she couldn't refute me, because every word I said was true. "Miss Thorne, think it over, and then come find me." I couldn't be bothered to argue with her, so I hung up after speaking. 2 days later, Sophia Thorne came to the office to find me. She was drawn and haggard, looking utterly defeated. I almost didn't recognize her. "I agreed to sell you the shares. I hope you can transfer the money as soon as possible." I instructed my assistant to bring the contract. "Don't worry, once the contract is signed, the money will be in your account immediately." I learned from my assistant that for the past 2 days, Sophia Thorne and Julian Blackwood had been constantly harassed by shareholders. Just yesterday, Julian Blackwood's leg was broken. Sophia Thorne panicked and decided to sell the shares for money. Arthur Thorne called me, his voice full of pleading. "Ethan Miller, I know Sophia has wronged you in this matter, but she is my only daughter after all. I don't ask you to remarry her. I only ask that you help her and let her live a peaceful life. Arthur Thorne, regardless, I owe him a debt of gratitude for his patronage, and I couldn't ignore his plea. All right, as long as she completely cuts ties with that man, I can guarantee that her future will remain smooth sailing." Seeing me relented, Arthur Thorne sighed in relief and repeatedly promised that Sophia Thorne would cut ties with Julian Blackwood that night. But the truth was not as Arthur Thorne said. That evening, I went to the family estate. Upon entering, I saw Sophia Thorne and Julian Blackwood both kneeling on the ground. "Dad, Julian only has me now. His leg is broken, I can't abandon him. No matter what you say, I won't leave him. Just give up all hope." Sophia Thorne's voice was full of determination. Julian Blackwood solemnly swore, "Dad, please just let Sophia and me be. We are truly in love, and I will make her happy." Arthur Thorne was furious and picked up his cane, aiming to hit Julian Blackwood. Sophia Thorne quickly shielded Julian Blackwood behind her. "Dad, if you want to hit someone, hit me. This isn't Julian's fault, I'm the one who loves him." Julian Blackwood was moved to tears, and he tightly hugged Sophia Thorne. "Sophia, it's all my fault for loving you too much, which caused you so much trouble. Now that I'm lame, I'm even less worthy of you. I can't hold you back, we should break up." With that, Julian Blackwood stood up and limped outside, his face displaying a noble demeanor. Sophia Thorne, however, couldn't see through his terrible acting. Her face was filled with emotion. "Dad, look how much he loves me. I'm sticking with him for life. If you don't agree, I'll run off together with him." With that, she made to chase after Julian Blackwood. "Nonsense. If you dare to step out of this house today, we will disown you." Hearing Arthur Thorne's words, Sophia Thorne paused, but ultimately did not turn back. What a curse. Stuck with a daughter like this. Arthur Thorne clutched his chest, his face full of pain, then suddenly stiffened, and collapsed to the ground. "Mr. Thorne." Arthur Thorne woke up in the hospital. Upon learning that Sophia Thorne had already run off together with Julian Blackwood, he gave up all hope. The already elderly man now looked even more aged. He sighed heavily, determined not to concern himself with Sophia Thorne anymore. I sent Arthur Thorne abroad to recuperate and changed his contact information, completely severing his ties with Sophia Thorne. A few months later, I suddenly received a call from the police. Sophia Thorne had asked the police to call me. At the police station, I immediately saw Sophia Thorne with matted, unkempt hair, filthy and disheveled, huddled in a blanket, shivering. Upon seeing me, her eyes lit up, and she immediately knelt down. "I was wrong, I was wrong. Julian Blackwood is a huge liar. Will you forgive me?" I remained silent. Sophia Thorne, trembling, recounted what happened after she ran off together. It turned out Julian Blackwood was not a finance expert with an overseas education at all, but a gambler. After she ran off together with him, Julian Blackwood behaved for a few days, then took money out to gamble again. Not only did he lose the principal, but he also accumulated a mountain of debt. He would frequently beat and verbally abuse Sophia Thorne, forcing her to call home and ask for money. Sophia Thorne was unwilling, and he would beat her even more severely. Sophia Thorne couldn't bear such a life and tried to escape, but after being caught, she was always met with even more brutal beatings. This went on for several months. After one particularly severe beating, Sophia Thorne's stomach started bleeding. Only then did they realize Sophia Thorne was pregnant. To avoid a fatality, Julian Blackwood sent her to the hospital. That's how Sophia Thorne managed to call the police. I truly know I was wrong. Can we get married again? I'll listen to Dad and you. Sophia Thorne was in tears, desperately clutching my arm. I silently pulled my arm away, my tone resolute. It's too late to say all this now. Arthur Thorne and I already gave you a chance. Now you can only help yourself. No. No. You can't be so heartless. Where's my dad? Get my dad here. Sophia Thorne broke down, weeping uncontrollably. You might not know, but when you left, Arthur Thorne was so angry he almost ended up in the ICU. He almost didn't make it. He's recuperating abroad now. If you have any conscience, don't bother him anymore. How could this be? How could this happen? Sophia Thorne looked dazed, weeping inconsolably. I handed her a card. There's $1 million in the card. This is my last act of kindness towards you. Don't come looking for me again. With that, I didn't look at her again, and turned to leave. Julian Blackwood was soon arrested, and brought to justice. The trial proceeded smoothly. Ultimately, Julian Blackwood was sentenced to 15 years in prison for illegal detention, abuse, and aggravated gambling. During this time, Sophia Thorne truly did not contact me again. The next news I heard about her was that she had committed suicide by slashing her wrists. The police said she had left me a letter. She apologized to me, saying she was sorry for me and for Arthur Thorne. She asked me to take good care of Arthur Thorne, saying she was an unfilial daughter, and couldn't fulfill her duties anymore. She said she owed us, and she couldn't repay us in this life. In her next life, even if she had to repay us in my next life, if there was a next life. Holding the letter, I sighed with a mix of pity and regret. She was both pitiful and hateful. She woke up too late. If only she had realized sooner, she would have had a happy life. But there is ultimately no way to undo the past. I donated the $1 million to children in underserved communities in her name, hoping she would be smarter in her next life, and not harm herself again.